Hello, and welcome to the Noble Arms Manual, a comprehensive guide to playing United Noble Knights, the powerful hybrid deck that combines the old-school Arthurian Noble Knights with the newer Infra-Noble Knights. This guide will serve as a sort of living document comprised of several parts covering different aspects of building, playing, and winning with this deck. I will update components as needed as the game changes with new ban lists and new sets, covering combos that may be discovered with the newer card pool. Initially, we're going to be discussing the deck in general. I have in front of me just a sample list that was relevant at time of recording, and I will be covering the upcoming cards from the set that releases in just 2 weeks' time, in particular the Therians and how I believe they help the deck. Without further ado, let's get into part 1. So what is United Noble Knights, and why might you want to play it? United Noble Knights is a mid-range combo deck that uses the powerful combo effects of the Fire Warrior deck introduced in Rise of the Duelists, Infra Noble Knights, to supplement the existing game plan of the classic Noble Knights, which were always a more mid-range and grind-focused deck. The general idea is that on turn 1, you're going to set up a decently powerful board and critically put pieces in the hand and graveyard to allow for a killer combo finishing the game on turn 3, or shifting into a grind through to turns 5 and 7 as needed. In addition, the classic Noble Knights brings their strengths to the Infra Noble Knights in the form of powerful recursions and removal for the Xyz monsters, and recyclability and tutorability using the trap card. We use a wide variety of tools, calling back to our toolbox roots, which is why you see a large number of equip spells. However, we do focus heavier on the turn 1 combo than the classic Arthurian Knights did, which is what we can use the Infra-Nobles for, as they provide powerful synchro toolboxes by route of Hulk into Auroradon. This deck does have some strengths relative to the more popular Fire Warrior build in the broader meta, and some weaknesses. The strength of the deck is that rather than focusing entirely on a turn 1 combo and being relatively unable to play around that combo being disrupted, the deck has multiple options it can play through, multiple routes. It is in some ways more resilient against disruption and better going second with its native card pool. The disadvantages, however, are that the traditional Fire Warrior deck has a slightly higher combo ceiling and is typically run at 40 cards, meaning it sees side deck choices a lot more reliably. In Hybrid Noble Knights, you are almost always going to be siding in cards in quantities of 9 or even 12, because you really want to maximize your chances of seeing one, and you always run the deck at 60. Now, why is that? You run the deck at 60 because Hybrid Noble Knights, just like any other warrior deck in the Link era, primarily resolves around first making Isolde on your way into combo. Because of this, you don't care too much about what cards you open in specific. Rather, you want to make sure you can get 2 warriors on the field, and you do this both through in-theme cards and generic extenders. Now, you may be thinking, well, I could do that in 40, and that's true, but what 40 does not allow you to do is reduce the rate of seeing garnets in your opening hand, and we have a lot of them. We have our combo pieces used for the primary synchro line, in this case, a Despot, a Coltwing, and Mist Valley. You have a ton of equipped spells, of which you really only want to open 1, 2 maximum, and you're going to have a couple one-off utility knights for later in the game, such as Hector, in this case. None of these are cards you really want in your opening hand if you can help it, and so by raising your deck size, you increase the odds that you will not see any or at most one of these cards. 60 cards has been the standard for Noble Knights in general for many years now, dating back to the older Arthurian builds, which you can see in earlier guides, and this was carried through to Hybrid when we first developed the deck.